watching one of my buddy's videos. The only guy I actually watch any of his videos is Tech9 Technologies. And he was explaining how he was going to build himself a little switching supply with these bad units. Now, I adopted these a long time ago for the little low volt 12 volt stuff because they're lighter, it's a little bit cheaper, it's regulated, a lot less headache, a lot less in shipping costs, so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. Well, the downside to this is that it takes this many to equal the continuous power output of this. Okay? So, now this thing will pull up to 200 amps worth of current through that transformer. So that's, let's see, 30, 60, 120. That's a many. All right? And we got to go a little bit more. Or I could have sold him 2 of these and sold him a 400 amp supply. This is a little bit more fun. The reason I brought up Tech9 is because he teaches. And I've gotten away from doing that because I got so crucified when I first started building. I got drug up on every radio forum. Heck, I even got my own hate page on Facebook. First one, thank you very much, boys and girls. Now everybody's got one. But, yeah. I got away from teaching, and I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to get back to sharing knowledge, because knowledge is free, and people that aren't willing to teach should not do. So, my job that I get to do next to make this work is I got to plug in every single one of these, and I got to trim them out. And I normally like to set them about 14.7, because you can turn these all the way up to 15 volt. And there's 2 ways to tie these together. You can daisy chain them together, or you can pull all the wires off and sum them together at a bus. I prefer the summing system. That way the current is either coming to or leaving from the unit completely unfettered or molested. Would be the best way to put it. But you're going to see how this turns out. I just thought it'd be fun. Now the real question that y'all gonna ask yourself is, BBi, how do you turn on a 300 amp supply with a little 1/4 amp switch? More technology coming your way. I love my iron. But it's big, it's heavy, it's bulky. It's a whole lot more work than summing all those puppies together. 300 amp power supply. Let the show begin. Okay, let's see what time is it here. It's, yeah, 1:35 in the morning. All right. So keeping in the tradition of teaching, let's talk about these little switchers real quick. On the side here, there's a little switch. It's going to give you 110 volt or the 220 volt option. If you have this in the 110 volt setting and you try to feed this thing 220 volts, they explode like friggin', well, they sound like kind of like a half shotgun shell going off. Fireworks, smoke, a lot of action, usually leaves a little burnt spot on the case. Windex, place to supply, move on with your life. But let's say we actually set this up right. You hook up 220 to these. You put your one positive or your 110 lead here and your other 110 lead here. Otherwise, you're going to put up your hot lead or your primary and your return on this leg, or otherwise your ground. So white wire. We're hooked up 110. We have this set at 110. Now look, there's a couple do's and a couple don'ts with these. Do's is that you got to hook them all up, and you want to trim the voltage as close to 1/10 of a volt to each supply as you can possibly get them. And the reason for that is if you've got a multiple bank of these, let's say like 4 of these all lashed together, okay, and you go and you hook it up to an amp, the supply that has the highest voltage output will take 100% of the brunt of the punishment every single time until you pull past its ability to put out current, until the other ones kick in. That makes one supply work harder than the rest, which is absolutely what you want to avoid, because within a month or two you'll be changing out a supply. Other builders, what they do is they go in and they cut the regulator and they slave them all together, and then they take a resistor and they go to ground on the board. Only one company does that. I want them to keep doing that because I'm making a small fortune replacing their supplies. Just saying. The number one cause of their boxes going down is that. I don't feel that that's smart. Me personally, I don't feel that that's a good way to do it. Me personally, I like to let the little internal regulator do its job and allow the thing to be balanced. So what I do is we'll sit here and we'll turn our potentiometer here. Whoop. Okay. So our maximum voltage that this thing puts out is 15.7 volts, even though that looks like 15.1, that is 15.7. I normally set these too far. At about 14.75. Okay. These supplies all have a variance in them. Remember, it comes from China. It's only built to a certain standard. It's not designed to be used this way. It's originally designed to run big strips of LED lights efficiently. So the upper range of these things is somewhere in the area of 15 volts. Some of these supplies won't get there. Some of them quit at 14.9. Some of them quit at 14.85. I've had several of these that won't go and go to about 14.98. So I set them at 14.7. Allows us to have a little bit of headroom. We're not going to overstress any parts that way. You can go and hook and safely hook a radio or any other kind of household electronic to it that you want to run that runs on 12 volt. It'll support it fine. With all the power supplies being matched, as long as the distance of the wires from the terminal and the back of the power supply are the same distance, either be positive, negative, or in reverse, meaning that the positive leg can be shorter, but the negative wire needs to be the same length, otherwise giving it a total sum distance of the two electrical leads to the load. All the power supplies load up and unload at the same time electrically. Very important. All right, now that we're done with that, let's put this puppy together. Ooh, it's gonna be shiny. Like dangling keys. Okay, here we go. I see it. Well, let's see. This is day number 2. Yeah, day number 2. What is it? It's like, what? 2:40 in the morning? Let's see, it is 27.3 degrees outside, and according to this, the ambient air is 61.3 degrees in here. Haven't turned the heater on yet. And I'm out here sweating like a whore in church. Why is that? Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, because I'm standing right underneath these 100 and some degree lights. Yeah, fun. Anywho, I got the AC all plumbed in. And the mystery is how are we going to turn this on and off with the little half amp breaker and a half amp switch. The 100 amp contactor here in the back. It's a neat unit. We'll get a little bit more in depth in how that works when we get to the final rollout video. But got the AC installed. Got the insulator from Lexan in the back. My positive and negative rails run. And the reason you got to have a long run like this is because you want to have the positive lead that comes from this power supply across here, and then the positive lead from this power supply come to here. That way the distance from A to B and B to A, the total sum is the same length to the load. So that way this power supply gets taxed the same amount as that power supply. And you got to do the same thing on the ground side. So the wires are going to do this beautiful little X pattern across this bus bar here. It's going to be pretty slick. Over here we're going to build up a little capacitor bank. This is where we're also going to put all our protection diode systems. And yeah, getting close. Now me being me, being 2 o'clock in the morning, I get this whole mess all wired up, all the AC, and it's all laid down here. It's all nice and pretty, right? And please note, I started my day at 7:30 this morning. I've been working at the other company for the other man, and I'm tired. So I got to where I was going to plumb up all the positive leads, little red wires. I'm like, wait a minute, I had wired it backwards. But these 2 units that were sitting outside the cabinet, so I can have screwdriver access to all of this as I go, I wired these appropriately. Dumb BBi, dumb. So, because this was all zip tied and loomed up, all I had to do was unscrew it, move it up, and plug it into the right spot. But we're right now. It's all good. Anywho, a little bit more for you tomorrow. Should be done, and we're going to use this in the next 3 videos. Just because I think it's going to be cool. Alright, see ya. Bye. Shit, man. Okay, so it's like 3:20 in the morning, a.m. Day number 3. This beautiful beast is completed. I gotta do a little vinyl on it yet. But the big reveal on how you control that much amperage is with this thing called a contactor, which basically is a big solenoid driven relay that's sealed, arc enclosure. You can make a break contact to 290 amps in it, and that's initial 290 amps, and then break release I believe is 90 amp current load, decouple. So, and it's continuous draws a butt ton. But when you measure the current on this side of the contactor, it's dropping less than 1/10 of a volt, so there's like no loss. But it's done. Lid's all done, fans are all done up. The new screen's in it, keeping a little fine particulate from falling inside this thing. That's always bugged me. Now, hold on a second. I just want to do a little video of this, and I go to shoot the video and I always get in such a rush that I sort 14,000 things I want to cover, and I lose my track and my place where I'm at, and I never I never get to really cover all the little things that I think about. Like, when I first started doing this, I mean, this is your standard 120 millimeter grill cover, right? And this is on everybody's amp. Well, to me, these are giant holes that just let shit fall inside the box. And so then I had a guy back a while back that ordered that 8-pill 50-volt box from me that ran on 110. And he said he wanted nice clip-on filters. So this is the base unit, which remarkably looks a lot like that, but punched out of plastic, made in China, of course. But this clips onto this. Look at that, this son of a bitch is brand new. I mean, brand new. I just took it out of the plastic. Here's the plastic. Anyhow, we're fucking broken. Damn. Anyhow, this has got a washable, cleanable screen, which I always thought was pretty neat. I'm like, okay, this is cool. The first time I seen one of these was at Witch Doctor's house. He had them on the side of an Ameritron. And these are pretty good at catching cigarette smoke, at least most of the particulates off of cigarette smoke. But like, obviously here, a little bit flimsy. So I get to pumping these puppies out, and I start buying these screens in boxes of hundreds and 200s at a time. I always thought, man, there's got to be a better way. So I seen Texas Star, and they use on their new Sweet 16, they use a screen version of this, which might add a little bit better RF, RF blocking. But the main thing is it's really super fine, which will keep any like particulates out of it, like, I don't know, little pieces of copper jism that are rolling around your cab from when you tried to wire in such said amplifier from falling inside your box. I started doing this on amps that people ask for it. It's this screen. You don't ever need to remove, wash, or clean. It's like a trap. Now, I put this on one box and I didn't put the grill guard on it. And then I showed it to a couple of my friends, and they're all like, oh, wow, that's neat. And they'd walk over and they all did the same thing. And so then I had one buddy that was standing here with the amp on, and he's, okay. It's not that I run a school for slow and in-wielding children or anything. It's that that's just my friends. So between the two, we have metal body construction that don't break. It's unbelievable that's broken. Well, I'll call the manufacturer in China and get a refund for $1.99. Right. It's the best of both worlds. This is a pretty good solution. It's not a giant open hole. It doesn't restrict hardly any airflow. Where this actually puts a limitation on the airflow because you're pulling it through a piece of foam. But I just thought I'd shoot a little, add that in there. Anyhow, let's see, the only thing left now is to come along and epoxy this LED light strip down, because I found over time, if this is sitting on the lid, the little epoxy that's on the back of this strip has a tendency to cup up and come to detach from the lid. So instead of keeping that from falling down, we just glue it up to the lid. This puppy's done. Completely built without hot glue. There's guys out there that are gluing the back end of these power supplies down with hot glue instead of using a screw. Unbelievable. I guess that's the difference between me and the next guy, because this took me 3 days to put together. No one built it for me, and I'm the face man of the company. I built it myself. There's only one of me, and I'm a small custom shop. But the details are what's really impressive. If you notice, even down at this level, the details reign supreme. Every screw head's faced the same way. And I've done that on everything I've done for a long time. Same thing on the bottom of the cabinet. Same thing on all the screws for the lid. Same thing over here. And by the way, this is Chad's matching driver or matching amp that goes with this power supply. He wanted me to build him a power supply that would, well, run this amp plus run everything else on his workbench. So I'm like, shit, man, let's build you a 300 amp power supply so you can run 12 pill. 16 pill might be stretching it a little bit, but it's going to run this 2x8 with less than a volt drop. No problem at all. Anyhow, I'll get her all vinyled up in the morning or in the mid-afternoon when I get out of bed, and we're going to shoot a video of this. Probably the 2x6, using this to power the 2x6 and the 32 pill from Mr. Jefferson. Little quarter or half amp switch running 300 amp power supply. Yep. Alright, enough of this. You guys know my name. My name is BBi, and without a shadow of a doubt I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come check us out. www.bbiamps.com. Oh, hold on, let me go grab something. True to form, you guys are going to notice that the Allen Bradley contactor that's in here is not the same one that I built the power supply with. I went and did some simple checking, and if you look down in here real close, you can get this now where it's not in shadow. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. What you do focus? Yeah, here we go. If you notice here, that symbol on the very end is different than the rest, and what that symbol means is that this is connected when the contactor is up and is disconnected when the contactor is down. If you haven't noticed that I need to actually have this lead for the calculated amount of amperage across each terminal to power 5 supplies on each pole. I need that to be the other way around. So I grabbed another Allen Bradley off the shelf, but I wanted to document that because I didn't want anybody to be able to go, oh no, wait a minute, that's not the same contactor that's in all the photos. This is why. Listen to the noise this sucker makes. You should feel it hitting the bench here. I'll put the camera down here, maybe I'll pick it up. Sexy, big clunky relays, my kind of thing. That's it, that's all I got. I'm going to throw this all together. We're going to do a real good video for the amp, and we'll cover the power supply kind of in passing, but because I'm shooting this video on the raw, I guess it just decided at the end of 10 minutes that it was maximum amount of recording time reached. Anyhow, let's try this again. My name is BBi, and without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come check us out, www.bbiamps.com. And remember, I can't get to have all this fun and do these crazy things, 4 or 5 day long projects, and shoot all this crazy stuff without all of you. And I thank you for all the support. Come find me on Pal Talk. The room's name is 27.025 The Bowl. Pal Talk is a chat program. And if you call me and I don't answer, that means I'm building something like this and I can't answer my phone. So either call me back the next day or I'll call you when I take a break, because my phone rings all the time. I appreciate y'all's support. I appreciate y'all's projects. Call me if there's anything I can do to help you out. I'll see you. Bye.